Es evidente que yo no tengo una noción muy precisa de lo que voy a contar en el momento en que empiezo a contarlo. Es decir, que puedo tener una idea global de una situación, de un desarrollo argumental, pero me faltan hilos conductores, me falta la coordinación, y en general cuando escribo cuentos no tengo una idea precisa de cómo van a terminar los cuentos. Es mientras los estoy haciendo que más o menos bruscamente se instala el final. De golpe veo que tengo que ir para la izquierda en vez de ir para la derecha.
I basically just visited a bunch of independent, mostly used bookstores in my city. I found a lot of good stuff. I found a lot of things that I took home. Not a lot, but you know, it was really nice. I had a couple of chats with the bookstore owners and some of the employees. It was a really fun time. When I get back home, I'll show you what I got at the bookstore crawl. I got some good things. I got some good books that I didn't expect to find. Hi, little interjection. It's another day. I realized that I actually have a lot of books that I've acquired since last month that I think will be a good addition to this haul, just because honestly, I don't want to acquire any more books this year. I feel like these are enough to keep me occupied. At the end of last year, Barnes & Noble had a sale, and I took advantage of that to acquire some books that I've been wanting to for a little bit. I also got a couple of books gifted for Christmas, so here they are. First off, I have 2 nonfiction books. This is One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against Us by Omar Akkad. This is a manifesto / memoir of a Palestinian Canadian author, I believe, and his disillusionment with the way that the West has been acting with the genocide in Palestine. I've heard mixed things about that book, but I want to read it and judge it for myself. These are the Penguin Classic, The Letters of Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh is one of the most intriguing artists, in my opinion. Obviously, he's incredibly famous, but I found out that everything that I found out about his life, it's kind of incredibly sad. These 2 books were Christmas gifts. They're both by the same author. This is Silver Nitrate and Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno-García. Silver Nitrate is basically about people in the kind of behind the scenes of the film industry in 90s Mexico that discover this mystery or are trying to solve this mystery about this cursed film by a Nazi occultist. My friend really liked it, so I'm hoping that I like it too. Mexican Gothic is a young lady in like 1950s Mexico helps her cousin in this state / mansion / house in a really remote area of Mexico. A Gothic novel set in Mexico, which is actually a very interesting premise. Now, I don't think I ever mentioned it, but last year I read The Passion According to GH by Clarice Lispector. I finished the book. Honestly, I kind of felt disappointed. I feel like I didn't enjoy it as I should have enjoyed. And I don't know if it's because of the mindset that I had at the time. I don't know if it's because I just didn't connect with the writing. But I did get 2 other of Clarice Lispector's books, Near the Wild Heart and Breath of Life. Near the Wild Heart is like her first novel, then like her musings. I found her books are never plot driven, they're mostly like thought driven, philosophical. The book A Breath of Life is about a godlike entity that has conversations with the character, who I believe is also based on Lispector because she wrote this when she was dying. I honestly think that I will benefit a lot more from her writing if I was reading her in Spanish. Her works were originally published in Portuguese, and Portuguese and Spanish are basically cousins. So I feel like in the future, I should try to seek out if I reread The Passion According to Age in Spanish. I just want to see if my theory works. But nonetheless, I do want to give her another try. And also, I really like these editions. Apparently, like, the covers form a picture of her. If only by Vigdis Hjorth. She's a Norwegian author. Is about a man and a woman that have an affair. And basically about a toxic relationship. I picked it up because the cover, like, caught my attention a long time ago. So when the sale went on, I was like, I'll just take it. Omensetter's Log by William H. Gass is about Omensetter, and I'm unsure if I'm pronouncing that right. Omensetter is a guy that is like goodness personified, and there's this priest, the Reverend Jethro Ferber. It's a preacher who is riddled with envy at the way that Omensetter kind of just goes about life and how everybody adores him. Kind of about like what the consequences of this envy do to Omensetter's life and like kind of everybody in the town. Kokoro by Natsume Soseki is a classic. He's one of the most popular writers to come out of Japan. It's about the relationship between, I believe it's a man and his mentor, or a person and their mentor, and about loneliness. This is a compilation of stories by Henry James. The Turn of the Screw, The Aspen Papers, and two other stories. This was really cheap, and I've been wanting to read The Turn of the Screw for a while. I've been on my quest to read more classics. This book I picked up because it sounded interesting, but I have heard of the author. This is Salka Valka by Halldór Laxness. He is an Icelandic author that won the Nobel Prize back in like the 60s. Salka Valka is a novel about a girl making her way in life after her mother dies in this like small fishing town in Iceland. This book is a square. I feel like this is going to be a little bit difficult to hold, but I do like this edition. Lastly, this is a book that I've wanted to read for a long time. This is La Rayuela, or Hopscotch. But this is La Rayuela by Julio Cortázar. He's one of the most famous Argentinian authors. And this book is apparently weird because you can read it in many different ways. There's like a guide on the way that the author recommends it to read it. And apparently there's more guides that people recommend in order for you to get the full story. But essentially it's about the love story of a man and a woman. Like, it's not that complicated. It is set in Paris, and he lived in Paris for much of his life. He's always been an author that fascinated me. I've listened to his poetry. I don't know, I just find him very interesting. That's it, finally, for this book haul. I am really eager to sink into the books that are staring at me right now. And I know that I don't have my shelf visible. It's just because my shelf is really not a shelf. It's just the top of my dresser. And it's about to tumble over. Got a pretty good haul. And I spent less than $60. I counted because I paid in cash. But mostly all of these books kind of never heard from before. But their covers really drawn me, and so did the synopsis. So I don't think I can do it by store because I kind of just dumped them all in here. This is an NYRB. It's called The Gallery by John Horne Burns. It's a novel set in World War II. Set in occupied Naples in 1944, the gallery takes its name from the Galleria Umberto, a bombed-out arcade where soldiers and civilians came together in pursuit of food, drink, sex, money, and oblivion. One of the first to look directly at gay life in the military. Next up, I found this. I've wanted to read Colette, like the Colette stories, for the longest time. So this apparently encompasses all of the Claudine stories. I might have to censor this. This is Nana by Zola, Émile Zola. You know, it's a very classic story. This is one of the Penguin classics. I just can't, you know, for what I've learned, it's about kind of a group of men that seek to ruin a gentle lady, a gentle woman. I don't know if any of that is correct. It might have more to do with prostitution. This is the Paris Review interviews. I've got an edition of the Paris Review last year. It was the summer, I think, the summer 2025 Paris Review. And this apparently is just like a collection of interviews with a lot of different authors. I only recognize Louis Ferdinand Céline and James Jones. But I'm curious because this might just get me inspired to seek out the work of the other authors in this. And the cover it just says all the names. So I found a book in Spanish in one of the stores, which I was surprised by. I wasn't expecting that. This is José Donoso, El Obsceno Pájaro de la Noche. I don't know if this book is translated. I feel like it must be because José Donoso is like a very popular Chilean author, and this is like his most popular work. I've never read him, but I am very curious about him. Lately, I've been seeking out a lot more of Latin American authors. I got Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. I found this cover really cute. Classic. Her take on a Gothic novel. Okay, and then I got 3 hardbacks, which were pretty decent price. I got Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence. I've heard about this book a lot. Very risque, or at least at the time it was, about a woman who finds sexual liberation with her lover. So, and then I got these 2 poetry books. They were in really good condition, and that bookstore sells mostly like specialized books, like a lot of special editions and like signed copies by authors. Some first editions too. They didn't have like a big selection. I did find these interesting. This is a poetry collection by Robert Frost. I've been trying to delve more into poetry lately just because I haven't been giving it a chance. I keep thinking that I'm not a poetry person, but I feel it's mostly because I haven't really taken my chance at it. I also have this edition. This is an Edgar Allan Poe poetry collection. I like the cover. The cover, I found it really nice. The bag was just an extract from The Raven. Yeah. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun chats with the bookstore owners and some of the employees. I kind of just catching up about what they're reading, what I'm reading. I guess you can't say that we're catching up because we've never met before. I feel like we were in such an environment that just like encouraged conversation. And I like having chats with people. But I feel like it's very something when you have like a chat with a stranger about something so personal as like what you like to read. Found that a lot of people have been looking for John Steinbeck books recently, which is fascinating because it's been like it was like 2 different bookstores that they told me that a lot of people have been looking for John Steinbeck books. So, you know, I feel like as the turn of the year comes, there's like an author that kind of just pops out, like a classic author that kind of just pops out and garners the interest of a lot of people, which is, you know, great. But I have been seeing online, for example, that East of Eden is in many people's, either they're reading it right now or they're looking to read it soon, which is interesting. Like even I started on Steinbeck this year with Of Mice and Men, you know, like one of his most popular maybe not a short story, short novel. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up and put this away. Thank you so much for watching.